I've taken the train from Delaware to Washington many times. Departing Wilmington at 7:53 p.m., arriving at 9:36 p.m. The tickets are cheap, and by then the car is almost empty. Perfect. Today was no different. I sat by the window as usual and read while the train gently rocked. But about 20 minutes after departure, the overhead speakerphone turned on. Attention! Unidentified passenger on board. I looked up. What? Unidentified passenger. I glanced around the car. The only other person in the car was the same middle-aged woman I'd noticed when boarding, sitting a few rows behind. She, too, looked up, confusedly staring at the ceiling. What the hell? And the voice was different. Not the usual muffled male one, but a female one, monotonous and mechanical. Did they mean some serial killer had boarded the train? My stomach churned. But wouldn't they have said something more serious then? Like hide, we are making an emergency stop. It almost sounded like an announcement about a fare dodger. I looked ahead at the board. Instead of the next station, it read, Unidentified passenger, unidentified passenger, unidentified passenger. The letters slid past again and again, twitching orange pixels. Maybe they were talking about some Russian spy. Or was it just a glitch? I stared at the orange letters. Unidentified passenger. I texted the guy. The train is announcing that there's an unidentified passenger on board. Very strange. It must be fake, right? Or should I get off? He immediately replied, That's really weird. You should probably get out. I can catch the next train to your place. Where are you? I opened the maps and checked the location. We were a few minutes from Aberdeen. After a moment's hesitation, I grabbed my bag. It was probably just some kind of glitch, but I wasn't about to sit there like a duck on a pond. I turned into the aisle, and right in front of me stood a woman. The same one from the back of the carriage. I flinched and hit my head on the luggage rack. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you, but do you know what's going on? She asked. I shook my head. This must be some kind of joke, right? What do you mean, unidentified passenger? I don't know. I'll get out, just in case. I squeezed past her into the aisle and headed for the vestibule between the carriages. Good idea, she said. I hurried to my seat and began packing. I pressed the door button and stepped into the vestibule. The metal floor shook beneath my feet. Outside was pitch black, with only a single small light flickering in the distance. The door behind me opened, and a woman walked in, clutching her bag to her chest like a shield. I have to be at my daughter's wedding in the morning, she muttered, adjusting her ash-blonde hair. We've just patched things up. If I'm even a minute late. I glanced out the window into the next car. It was empty, save for one man in the front. I could only see the top of his head sticking out over the back. He wasn't packing or moving at all. For a second, I thought we were exaggerating. No. That's how people get into trouble. When they don't change their plans, even though the sirens are already blaring in their heads. As soon as something's wrong, leave, period. My mother taught me that long ago. The train rocked and shook. Lights grew in the distance, flickering in the darkness. We were getting closer. I moved closer to the door and stared out the small square window. The lights grew larger and larger. The platform slowly crawled into view, a squat brick building, dark windows, a silver sign. Aberdeen Station, we sped past. I stared out the window. We just passed the station. No, what? Really? I nodded. Before I could say anything, the comms clicked again. Attention, passengers. Please remain in your carriages for the rest of the journey. Thank you. The same female voice. Monotonous, slow. What the hell? The woman whispered. I glanced through the window into the next car. The man was still sitting there, absolutely motionless. No, wait, not motionless. As the train rounded the bend, his head swayed and fell limply onto his shoulder. Limply. As if he. I rushed back to the door of our car and hit the button. The door shook and swung open, and we slipped inside. That guy. There's something serious wrong with him. I could barely get the words out. I know. You think he. She couldn't finish. It looked something like this. I glanced back at the vestibule door. It was still empty, but the sign above the door now read, Stay in your car, stay in your car, stay in your car, what should we do? I took out my phone and dialed 911. The woman and I spoke at the same time. We are on the train, someone's dead, the train isn't stopping, we just passed Aberdeen, the operator said she'd send people to us. But deep down, I knew, what could they even do? If whoever was driving the train didn't stop it, how would the police intervene? Block the tracks? And possibly kill us in an accident? I stared out the window. Golden lights flashed past, the lights of the suburbs, and faded back into darkness. I swallowed. Tell me. It's impossible to survive if you jump out of a moving train, right?
At this speed, hardly, she replied. Silence fell upon us. We can hide in the restroom, she said. There's a lock there. That will protect us. The sign says stay in the car, I said, pointing ahead. And you believe whoever wrote that? The restroom doors are flimsy, I said. If someone wants to get to us, they will. I closed my eyes and ran my palms over my face. What if we were just panicking for nothing? Maybe that guy was just sleeping. Maybe we missed the station for some other reason. Maybe this really was just a glitch. The lights overhead flickered. And then they went out. What the hell? I sobbed. The only thing left in the car was the orange light from the sign at the front. It was still flashing the same. Stay in your seats, stay in your seats, stay in your seats, this is crazy, the woman whispered. I texted the guy. The lights went out, we called 911. I don't understand how they're going to get us off the train. I sent it and closed my eyes. Wait, the darkness might even be to our advantage, the woman said. Hiding is easier. What are the chances he'll find us anywhere on the train? She crouched down. We probably won't fit under the seats. There are benches in the back. I think we can fit there. I moved cautiously through the darkness, feeling the fabric seatbacks on either side. We reached the last row. The seats were arranged opposite each other, like small compartments, with a gap in the middle. I slid into the gap between the seats and squeezed under the first bench. The woman did the same. Under the second. I felt hot. The carpet scraped my arms. The metal seat pressed against my head. I tucked my legs under myself and crawled away so my head wouldn't stick out into the aisle. We were well hidden. But if whoever orchestrated all this finds us, we'll have nowhere to run. We're trapped. We lay under the seats for what felt like an eternity. The car rocked and tossed. My hair fell across my face. My legs ached. I knew Harry was probably texting me, but my phone was on silent and deep in my pocket. I couldn't bend over to reach it. And I didn't want to. What if someone walked by, the screen lit up, and gave us away? I was pulled from my reverie by the grinding sound of an opening door. No. No, no, no. I listened. Soft, muffled footsteps sounded from the far end of the car. Slow and measured. Quiet. Like a predator stalking its prey. The footsteps grew louder. I held my breath. Stupid. A black leather man's shoe stopped in front of my face. No. It glistened in the orange light. As if it were wet. My lungs were burning. Please, don't look. Please, please, go. Pass by. Go, go, go. She froze on the carpet, a few centimeters from my face. Then another step. And another. The door behind us shook and opened. And closed it. I let out the air in short, silent bursts. Then I inhaled as slowly as I could. He passed by. We're okay. Everything's fine. I turned my head to the woman. Tears were streaming down her face. It's okay. He didn't notice us, I whispered. Her mouth parted. Her lips trembled. It's okay, I repeated, but she didn't even blink. And then I realized. She wasn't looking at me. She was looking past me. I turned around. My blood ran cold. Something was pressing my face against the window by the door. The glass was fogged with his breath. No. The one who passed us. It wasn't him. It was just another passenger. Trying to be quiet. Trying to hide. Maybe even the same man we thought was dead. And the unidentified passenger was there, in the window. His eyes were black holes. His skin was deathly white. His face was barely illuminated by the flickering orange light of the sign, which now read, "Don't run, don't run, don't run." That was the unidentified passenger. The woman crawled out from under her seat. No, I whispered, but she had already hit the door release button. It slowly screeched and slid to the side, and the woman began to slip through. The door at the other end swung open. Fast footsteps. Confused, jerky, running. I saw a flash of bare feet, and bare hands, slapping on the carpet. Seconds later, it rushed past me into the next car. Before the door had even closed. A muffled scream was heard. And then, silence. No. No, no, no. I bit my lip to keep from crying. I knew she was dead. She had no chance to escape. I squeezed my eyes tightly. I tried to push it all out of my head. Be quiet. It had run away. I just had to endure it until... The door opened. White. Bare hands on the carpet, glistening with something dark. Then, bare feet. Oh my God, she was on all fours. Jerking, spider-like, she moved forward and ended up next to my seat. She knows I'm here. No, no, no. I held my breath as her pale ankles bent beneath the hem of her white dress. As she began to descend, long dark hair slid into view, skimming the floor. More and more hair, as she bent her head to peer under the seat. She stopped, her face halfway up. I could see her hairline, her forehead. Her head hung down, hanging upside down, a few centimeters from my face. And she froze there, waiting. I saw her whole body move slightly with each breath. I heard the high, raspy whistle of her breath. A drop of blood fell and landed on her pale hand. But she didn't show her face. My lungs felt like they were going to explode. But I forced myself not to breathe, not to move. I looked at her hair, at the blood on her hands, at the dirty white dress brushing her ankles. With a long creak, she straightened up. The door slid open, and she was gone. I gasped for air in convulsive gulps. My lungs were burning. Hot tears streamed down my cheeks. I couldn't feel my legs or feet. I can't leave. Do not run, do not run, do not run. That's what the board said. I'll stay here in the darkness forever, even if every nerve in my body was screaming with fire. I don't know how long I lay there, huddled under the seat. I tried to breathe as quietly as possible. Sharp needles ran up my legs. My head was pounding. My arms were numb. But the train began to slow. The lights flickered and then came back on. And the comms hissed. A man's voice, as usual. Approaching Union Station. I only crawled out from under the seat when the train jerked and stopped. My whole body felt wooden, burning with pain. I crawled out into the aisle. I hobbled to the door and stepped out onto the platform. I felt like I could barely walk. The bright light was blinding. Heels clicked, voices boomed, suitcase wheels rolled along the concrete. Somewhere overhead, a loudspeaker announced the departing train. But looking back, I realized no one else had exited my carriage. Just me. And I didn't notice the hair until I reached the station building. A long black hair curled around my wrist. And the skin underneath it was swollen and reddened, everywhere the hair touched me.